Good evening, everybody. Welcome. My name is Gary Boyer. I'm the mayor of the city of Glendora. And you're all here tonight to learn more about the Gold Line. And we've been talking about it. How many people feel like they've been hearing about the Gold Line since they were riding a bike in school? Yeah, it's been coming forever, hasn't it? Well, things are finally starting to happen. But you know, the people from the Gold Line are going to be putting on a nice presentation to give us some updates today. Mayor Pro Tem Thompson is actually our delegate from the city of Glendora for the Gold Line Construction Authority. So I'm going to introduce him, and I got Judy Nelson here. We're available for questions if anybody has any, but these are the guys that have all the answers, I've been told. So we're looking forward to hearing those tonight. But Mendo, I'll let you say a few words.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. It's always good to be here, and it's a joy to have each of you here. So, has anybody ridden one of the gold lines? Have y'all? Man. So it's a great experience. It's a wonderful trip. It's cheap, and so see, Chris, you got fans here, so that's good. You know, I just want to say thank you for making time to come here tonight. I also want to make sure that you know that our Chris Jeffers is here. Chris, would you wave? He's our city manager, and appreciate the support that he is giving us. This is the night where you're going to be hearing just a overview of what the train's going to do, the effect it's going to have. There's going to be a lot of other times that are like this that we're going to ask you to come out and engage, but this is a night where this is the first time that really the Gold Line has been in town, and it's wonderful that they're here. There are charts and maps, and they're going to be talking about those, and it's going to be just a time where we're here to listen and be able to assist you. We also want to make sure that there's enough time, and I think Chris is going to leave enough time for us. But questions that you have, there should be a card like this on your chair, or at least nearby. And if you would write those things down, and then we will make sure that we sort those out and ask them, and just make sure that we don't have the same one being asked over and over, again. So with that, I'd like to introduce Chris Berner. Now that has nothing to do with the fact that it's 110 now out there. And I'm sure you've gotten a lot of stuff to Dave, but Chris is a part of the team, and great to have him here, and all of the others here, and he's going to take time now to introduce them. So would you welcome Chris? Thank you. Thanks, Chris.
Good evening, everyone. It is a great pleasure to be here. We have a lot of our team here. We have our CEO, Habib Balian. We have Dennis Kanoyer. He is our Director of Engineering. We have Ricky Hiramoto. He is my deputy. He's a Deputy Chief Project Officer. We have Elisa Levy-Bush. She is our Chief Communications Officer. And we have Yesenia. She works with Lisa. I am Chris Berner, the Chief Project Officer for the project. I am responsible for the planning, design, and construction of it. It is a great pleasure for us to be here and to tell you about our wonderful project. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Construction Authority, who we are and how we relate to LA Metro. I'm going to talk about the project readiness and the timeline for the project. I'm going to give you a project overview of the entire project, and then we're going to get into some of the details in Glendora. We're going to discuss the permanent changes that are going to happen as a result of the project, and we're also going to talk about some of the temporary changes during construction that you might experience while we're building the project. Then we're going to discuss the community outreach. We have a very robust community outreach program. We just recently completed the second phase of the Gold Line from Pasadena to Azusa, and we will implement basically the same outreach program that we had there, and we will provide a list of upcoming events. The Construction Authority is a completely separate legal entity from LA Metro. We were created by a state law back in 1998. It enabled us to build the Gold Line project from Union Station in downtown LA out to Montclair. It gave us all of the powers necessary to do that. The construction authority is overseen by a board of directors. I will show you the group of directors on the next slide. That board of directors also receives feedback from what we call the JPA, or the Joint Powers Authority. It's made up of elected officials of all of the cities throughout the corridor. And there's also the Technical Advisory Committee, which is made up of city staff of each city throughout the corridor. We work closely with Metro, because at the end of the project, we are going to turn the project over to Metro, and they're going to operate and maintain it. These are the directors. We use a grassroots approach to the project. We really want to make sure that the community is happy with the project. We understand that we're coming through your community. So we work closely with the community through the planning, design, and construction of the project. As I said, we have the TAC and the JPA made up of elected officials and city staff. This shows the corridor. It's 37 miles long. The first phase was completed back in 2003, on time, on budget. 13.7 miles, went through 3 cities, and there's 13 stations. The project that we just recently completed, it opened back in March of last year, is 11.5 miles, 5 cities, 6 stations, went from Pasadena to Azusa. That project was also completed on time and under budget. The project we're working on right now, the Glendora to Montclair project, is going to break ground in October, on October 21st of this year. This shows a complete build-out map of the rail system that Metro is working on as part of their Measure M, Measure R program. The area up there that is circled shows the project, the part of the system that we are responsible for. We divide the project into 5 major phases. We have completed 2 of them. We've completed the alternatives analysis and the environmental document, which identified the route in which the project will go. We are now in the engineering phase, where we are advancing the engineering of the project so that we can develop a good scope for the project when we go out and hire a design builder to build the project. Once we do that, once we have a design builder on board, they will complete the final design and construct the project. And then it will go into revenue operations. Project is funded from Measure M, and we have, or partly funded by Measure M. We also have $100 million of Measure R funds left over from the previous project. As I said, we were under budget on the previous project, and we have close to $100 million that we were able to use. This is a depiction of our work plan. We are going to build the project using 2 different contracts. The first is a utility relocation contract that we're going to award in September of this year. It's going to take about a year to complete. And then the other contract to build the project is what we call the alignment contract. It's a very large contract. It's a design build contract. So that means that that entity will design and construct the project. So the first order of their business will be to complete the final design. That will take probably 2 to 3 years for it to be fully completed, but they will complete it in phases such that they can begin construction earlier in the project. The project, right now there's an existing freight track through Glendora all the way, in fact it runs all the way through the entire alignment. Unfortunately, that track is in the middle of the alignment and it has to be shifted. In Glendora, it's shifted to the south slightly so we can make room for the light rail project. So that is, we kind of look at this project as being 2 projects in one. The first is relocating, it's really reconstructing and rebuilding that, the freight track, and then to make room for our light rail, then we come in and build the light rail after that. As I said, the first contract is a utility relocation protection in place contract. There's 11 utilities that we're going to work on in that contract, and 3 of them are in the city of Glendora. The project's a light rail project. It sounds like most of you are familiar with that. It's the system that is operating very close by in Azusa. It's very different than the Metrolink system. which is not near to this area. That is a diesel system, and our system is an electrified light rail, so it operates off of electricity. So it's much quieter, it's much cleaner, it's much a simpler operation. So it is powered by overhead power lines. It will operate in either one car, two car, or three car trains. They'll couple together and they can operate by themselves. There's no locomotive pulling the cars like on Metrolink. So it's the cars themselves are self-propelled and they can go in either direction, and so you can operate in any number of those consists. The top speed allowed on the system right now is 55 miles an hour. The vehicles are capable of going faster than that, but there's some limitations in our train control system right now that caps that speed at 55 miles an hour. And each car can hold up to 200 passengers, so it can move a fair number of people. This shows the overall alignment. Like I said, it does go through 6 cities. Actually 2 counties. It will stretch out into San Bernardino County if funding is provided by San Bernardino County. There are 6 stations. It's 12.3 miles long. Track is generally within the existing right-of-way, so we won't have to acquire much property. There's a little bit that we have to acquire for the tracks, but not very much. There's overhead wires above the track. As I said earlier, the entire corridor is shared with freight or Metrolink, not Metrolink in this area. In Glendora, it's just the freight. There will be 6 new stations. There are 28 ag-grade crossings in the whole project, 23 either new or renovated bridges throughout the project. There will be 11 substations. It is an electrified railroad, so that's what powers the train. And there will be pedestrian crossings at every station, which will allow people to, it'll go either under or over the tracks to allow people to get to the station. So it's a large project, it's a big undertaking. It's going to take some time, unfortunately, to build the project due to that relocation of the BNSF tracks. This is a site plan for the Glendora station. It shows the station. And it shows the parking structure. The station is located just to the east of Vermont. The yellow shows how that's a pedestrian pathway. So it shows the different ways that pedestrians can access the station. You can come from a lot of different directions. The parking structure entrance is off of Vermont, and there will be a shuttle stop, a place to drop people off. There will be bike facilities for people bike lockers for people or a bike storage area for people to store their bikes if they ride. And so there'll be a lot of good connectivity to the station, either by bus, bike, walk, or even drive a car. So there's a lot of different ways to get to the station. There will be a 420 space parking structure there. This is a picture of the existing condition. This is a sort of a stick figure representation of what it will look like once we're done completing the project. The grade crossings on the project are regulated by the California Public Utility Commission. We are not allowed to install or modify any grade crossings without their approval. We classify the grade crossings in 3 different types. They are at grade. That's essentially the existing crossings that you have right now where the roadway intersects with the tracks. They're in the same plane. Grade separated is where the tracks will go over the roadway and they'll be completely separated. And then we also have pedestrian crossings. We have those, on this project, we have them only at the stations. And it allows pedestrians to access the station from the parking lot. This shows a list of all the crossings within the city of Glendora. Today we are focusing on, this group of people, we're focusing on the ones on the left-hand side that are highlighted there. We also have included Glenwood and Elwood, Right now, those two are at grade. The PUC has expressed a strong desire to grade separate, to close one of those crossings. So we wanted to bring that to your attention as well.
Chris, it's a little hard to see those. Maybe you could just read them and say whether they're going to be at street level or...
Sure. There's Barranca Avenue, that's at grade. Foothill and Grand, a grade separation for light rail only. So the freight will remain at grade. The light rail system will go up and over that intersection. Vermont will be at grade. The Glendora Station pedestrian access, we actually have two. There's one on the west side of the station, which will be at grade, and there's one on the east side of the station, which will be grade separated. Pasadena Avenue will be at grade. And then Glenwood and Elwood will be at grade. And as I said, the PUC has expressed a strong desire to close one of those streets, to permanently close that. Whenever we build these grade crossings, we build the absolute latest in safety. You can go to Azusa and see the safety equipment that we have. We're going to use essentially the same configurations. We have what's called exit gates or quad gates. So at a normal intersection, not only the lane that is approaching the railroad tracks will have a gate down, the lane going in the opposite direction will have a gate down as well. So basically what it does is it fully seals off the crossing to prevent people from making a sort of a maneuver like that around it, from going around it. We will also have raised medians about 150 feet on either side of the track that will impact some access to some locations. We'll have a list of addresses here indicating the ones that will have to be right in, right out. So there'll be no left turns because due to the median, we'll highlight that when we get to it here soon. There will also be red curbs, which will prohibit parking in the close proximity of the grade crossing, about 100 feet within the tracks. The turn restrictions I talked about, and then at the grade crossings where the stations are, we have a look both ways sign to indicate that there can be rail traffic on both sides. So this shows the Foothill and Grand grade separation. It has not been designed yet, so that is not the aesthetic appearance of the bridge. We have just recently hired a project architect, and one of their many tasks will be to develop a design for this bridge that will be complementary to the existing area. When we build these structures, we build them to metro standards and all applicable codes and requirements, and any relevant city requirements such as clearances as you drive underneath the bridges. Okay, so let's get to the permanent changes that you can expect once the project is complete. The at-grade crossings, as we said, there will be some street and driveway access restrictions and some changes. We will present those on a future slide here. Does not affect that many people. Like I said, the median is only 100 feet from the track, so it's not that long. We will relocate the freight tracks. As I said, we need to do that to make room for the light rail project. There will be some street closures. We are looking at closing the west leg of Ada Avenue. That is a very complicated intersection with the geometry, and for safety reasons, we are looking to close that. And I have a graphic of that, and there's a graphic of it over there on the boards. And then also, as I said, the CPUC has requested that either Glenwood or Elwood be closed. When the train goes into operations, right now you only see 2 freight tracks that are freight trains that go through the city essentially in the middle of the day. There will be more train traffic. The light rail trains do come frequently during the AM and PM rush hour. So there will be more train traffic throughout the city. This shows sort of a general at-grade crossing, kind of to highlight some of the changes that you're going to see. Like I said, you're going to have a red curb about 100 feet on either side of the tracks. We'll restrict parking. We've looked at it. We don't think that's a significant impact within Glendora. There will also be raised medians that are about 100 feet from the tracks, and it's kind of depicted on that crossing. The tracks go sort of up and down, and the roadway is to the sides. Okay, this is a list of the properties that will have some access changes as a part of the project. Generally, what that means is it'll be a right in, right out. You won't be able to turn left. And the reason we do that is we don't want someone to, as they drive past the tracks, and if they're turning left, come to a stop, yield to oncoming traffic, and back people up onto the tracks. And it's a safety reason, safety measure for that reason. We want to prevent people from backing up onto the tracks. And so that's generally the access issues that or access changes that will take place. And so we've highlighted the ones that are in yellow are residential, and the ones that are not are businesses. Okay, this shows the track relocation. As I said, right now the existing freight track is generally in the middle of the right-of-way, and the right-of-way is generally 100 feet. It does vary, but it's generally 100 feet wide. And so when we build the project, we are going to have to rebuild that freight track to the south. It'll be located approximately it varies throughout the alignment, but anywhere from 21 to 30 feet from the existing property line. That's where we're going to relocate the new freight track, and it will be relocated to the south slightly. It's probably a 15, 20 foot move of those tracks. And then we will build our light rail tracks to the north of that reconstructed track. And that shows the two light rail tracks on the north and the one freight track on the south. As part of the project, we will be installing sound walls where it's required. We follow the Federal Transit Administration procedures for analyzing the needs for sound walls. Right now, they are generally located where a sensitive receptor is adjacent to the right-of-way, and that's a residence or a school. The height of the sound walls will vary. We are in the process of finalizing that. We believe they will be anywhere from 8 to 12 feet measured from the top of rail. So this shows the West Ada closure. It might be a little hard to see, but we're looking at putting a cul-de-sac just to the west of the intersection there as the tracks go across the road. As I mentioned, street closures, we are looking at Glenwood or Elwood. The CPUC has recommended that. And so part of this process is to get some feedback about those crossings. Property issues. There are some encroachments into our existing right-of-way. Some of those are under a license and some of those are not. So we are going to try our best to design the project around those encroachments and not impact them. But there are going to be some impacts to people that are encroaching in our right-of-way, either legally or illegally. We will make our best efforts to design around those, and we will, if we're unable to do that, we will work with our design build team to remove those encroachments. There will also be some land acquisition. We do own the vast majority of the project for the tracks, to build the tracks on. There will be a little sliver of property that we do need to acquire in and around the Ada Vermont intersection. And there will be some property that we'll need to acquire for the parking facility and other project elements, but not a significant amount of property. And once we identify those needs, we will reach out to those property owners. This is a list of encroachments that we have determined to this point. We are still evaluating the project. There may be more that come up. We have a board of those in the back as well. There will also be some impacts during construction that will happen. It is going to be a little inconvenient. I wish I could tell you otherwise, but you know, during the construction activities, there will be streets closed and there will be some inconvenience to you. I apologize for that. We're going to do the best we can to mitigate those impacts. These impacts may include extended temporary grade crossing closures. Our preference is to close a street, close the crossing where the road goes over the tracks. We're going to completely rebuild all of those crossings. We're going to improve them. We're going to try to take, many of them have humps. We're going to try to eliminate or greatly reduce those humps as much as possible to make it much smoother for people who are driving on the road. So to do that really effectively and efficiently and the least impact on the community is to close it for a relatively short period of time and get in and get the construction done and get it open again. We'll also be doing work within our rail right-of-way. There will be some utility relocation, track construction, some civil work. We'll be moving earth around, constructing fences, that type of thing. There will be some construction noise during that. We will follow all of the city's noise requirements. We will do construction during the day, during the city-approved hours. Night work will occur, when required, but we will try to minimize that as much as possible. And that's generally when we're building bridges and that type of thing. We might have to shut down roads, and we'll work with the city to determine the best days and times to do those. But there would be short periods of time. And then there's other street work where we'll temporarily take a lane, that type of thing while work is being done. We will do a lot of community notification. We try our absolute best to get the word out in advance so people know, people can plan alternative routes, people can figure out the best way to work with what we're doing. And it is important to note that the impactful work we do not expect to begin until late 2019, probably at the earliest. So we're a few years out from full swing of construction. As I said, we're going to do the best we can to get the word out, keep people informed, so you can find alternate ways of maneuvering around the city. We are going to, through various different means. We're going to have e-alerts, text alerts, community walks. We're going to walk the community, provide notices in advance of work taking place. You can find information on our website, on the city's website. We have e-news updates. We have blogs. We use social media, Twitter, Facebook, those types of things. If you are a user of those, they can provide great information for this type of activity. We also have some goal line tours if you want to join that. So if you want to sign up for construction alerts, text messages, more, go to our website there to sign up for that. These are some upcoming community events that we're going to have to be available to all of the corridor cities, all 6 of them. We will have stations it'll be an open house format. We'll have stations. You'll be able to come up and visit the different elements of the project and see those elements and talk to staff people that are familiar with it. You can ask questions. They're all going to be the same, so if you aren't available on August 7th for the Glendora event, you can go to any of the other ones. They'll all be generally the same, and you'll be able to get the same information at them. And then, as I said earlier, we have our groundbreaking coming up October 21st. So it'll be open to the public, so feel free to come and join that. Okay, so we're at the questions phase of the event. Okay, the question, sound walls attached to existing property wall or a separate wall?
Yeah, we already have a block wall.
Right.
Will be behind it, or there'll be two walls.
There could be. So it depends on we're in the process now of completing our sound wall evaluation, and so we're determining where walls are. We are looking at individual cases. We are required to provide a certain amount of sound protection. So we are careful in relying on an existing wall or an existing fence. So we do construct our own fence and generally our own wall throughout the alignment. If you do already have a fence or a wall, one option would be you could remove your wall and perhaps have a little bit more property come up to our wall. We can also look at that to see if it's at an adequate height to provide that protection, and we can talk to our consultants to see if that is adequate. But generally, our plan is to build our own wall, because walls can be taken down, fences can be taken down.
The freight track.
Okay, this one says, will the new segment open in stages, or will the entire section open at the same time, all in 2026? It will open all at the same time. The way the project's built, it's a linear project, so it's built kind of in sequential phases, down the line. So there will be no partial opening of the project. It opened, and it's very expensive to open up a segment of the project. It takes a large effort. So it will open all at once, and right now our estimated time frame is 2027 and has a lot of schedule contingency. We believe that if all things go well, we can open earlier than that in 2026. How can I find out more specifics on the design of the Grand Avenue Bridge as it progresses? Images and plans, drawings and details. We're just now getting started on that. In fact, we just hired a project architect, and we will advance that and move that forward. We will have other events in the community where we will provide updates as to what that is going to look like. Okay, Vermont Ada, will you be able to walk from Ada cul-de-sac to cross tracks to post office, library, downtown, the Gold Line? I believe they will, right, Dennis? It'll be kind of a pedestrian. We're working with the city to know exactly what that is, but I think we plan on having a pedestrian walkway through there, and there'll be a crosswalk that will allow, and then it would allow you to go up to the post office and up to downtown and everything. Okay, what impact will utility relocation have? When will that start? Where is Ricky? Would you like to answer that since you're going to be in charge of that?
Sure. This utility work that's part of our first contract is generally just 11 utilities, 3 within the city of Glendora. It's going to be in mid-block areas, so it's isolated locations. I have to think about. You can tell me what location you're at, but we're basically at mid-blocks. We picked these because we wanted to pick utilities that this contractor can go in and clear the work so that the future contractor doesn't have to go back in. And we also identified it so it's minimal impact to the streets, because we understand that during the larger work, there's going to be a lot more street closures and stuff like that. So we wanted to do the early work to really be stuff that is really not seen by the public as much. So there's only 3, and we can show you what the 3 is. It's not going to be at Grand Foothill, because that's an area we didn't want to go in there multiple times. Okay? Thank you.
Okay, the next question is, how far to the west of Grand Avenue does the grade separation extend? Dennis, do you know how far to the west of Grand Avenue does the grade separation extend? You could probably give us an approximate number.
How about if you do the next one and come back?
Okay, sounds good. Will the public have the opportunity to review and provide feedback on the sound wall analysis before it is finalized? Generally, no. We are going to follow a process outlined by the FTA, the Federal Transit Administration, and we will put those sound walls where they are required. Our project architect is also going to, part of their work will be to design the sound wall, to come up with a design that is aesthetically pleasing.
Give the answer, Dennis.
What's the answer, Dennis?
1,200 feet,
How many feet?
1,200.
Okay, and so it starts at the ground and kind of ramps up.
Ramps up to the grade separation, yeah.
Okay, Dennis, I might need your help on this one too. Okay, this is the dB increase or decrease from tracks. Is there a range? And there's, I believe it's looking specifically at Foothill and Grand.
So the noise increase.
It's the noise increase, and so that's going to be a grade separation. So our train will not sound its horn when it goes over. The freight track will remain at grade, so that will essentially be the same. So the noise increase there would be minimal. I don't know, an exact measurement, but it's really just the train going by. The trains are quiet in general. If you go listen to one in Azusa, you can hear for yourself. But
Well, like Chris mentioned, we're doing a complete analysis of all the noise throughout the entire project. We have a general idea of where the walls will be, but what we're waiting for is final analysis of how high they're going to be. But we have a pretty good idea of where they're going to end up. And again, what we're looking at is, especially in this area, is noise generated from the light rail train. Because again, the frequency of the train versus the one freight train a day, during the day, the operation of the light rail runs quite a bit longer. So they take a consideration of nighttime operations and noise generated at night too.
And then the other question is about a bridge rendering, a rendering of the bridge at Foothill and Grand. Yes, we will have our project architect prepare that as it is completed, and we'll have that at future events. This one, a property value increase or decrease. Generally these projects do increase the property value. It depends on many different factors. Certainly not a real estate professional, so I can't really answer that. But in general, where these projects are built, they provide access to all sorts of different alternative access, and property does generally increase. But I can't really answer that, and there's a lot of factors that obviously go into that.
There's information online about that. You can probably put in property values near light rail, and a lot of data will come up. And they're talking about the gates.
Yeah, okay, it says at Foothill and Grand, will the crossing guard, I guess that's gates, be activated for the light rail? No, it will not. Because we're grade separated, whenever a train passes through Foothill and Grand, you'll essentially see no impact from a traffic standpoint at Foothill and Grand. It'll be no different than it is today. Dennis, do you want to talk about the improvements that we're making there, including the pedestrian?
I think we had a picture here. But
I don't think we do. And also talk about the warning times, that it will be in advance.
What we're going to do is you showed in the slide a picture that for vehicles, automobiles coming down no matter what direction, east, west, north, south, we're going to be putting in gates that will be flashing lights, and they will come down, and that is well in advance of when the train gets to the crossing. And there's a prescribed amount of time that's required in that to calculate that. For the pedestrians, we are also putting in very similar pedestrian gates, but it will do the same thing. It's going to be an automatic gate that is going to come down and block the sidewalk. There's going to be a well-defined crosswalk across the tracks. So all of that, and again, our intention is to close off the corridor. That's it. the approach that we've been taking in there to accommodate pedestrians, make it safe. Same thing with the vehicles.
Even at Grand and Foothill, if we put a bridge over the street for the Gold Line,
We
will
still-
there also still be the pedestrian?
Yeah, we still have to protect for the freight train.
Yeah, we are going to rebuild the grade crossing through there, and
The freight line will run along the ground and
Yes.
the light rail will cross the bridge.
yes.
So up and over.
Do we have pedestrian gates on this crossing? So, yeah,
Yeah, that is, yes.
so it will be much improved from what it is today, much safer. We'll provide a lot of safety measures there.
And I guess,
Are there any more questions,
I
Lisa?
have no more.
Yes, sir.
What speed does the train go when it's approaching the bridge, going over the bridge?
It's generally 55 miles an hour.
And what hours will it be running?
Metro will determine the operation hours, but it roughly begins around 4 a.m. There aren't very many beginning early in the day, and then around the a.m. peak between, say, 6 and 8 a.m. or in that ballpark, they'll be more frequent. Then they'll lessen, there'll be less during the midday, and then there'll be more trains during the peak, and then tail off end of the day. Around midnight, 1 a.m., around that time.
So if you look up, you came in a little bit later, we are a separate agency from Metro, but if you go to metro.net, you can look at their schedule today, and that will help you understand kind of how often they run and the times that they're currently running.
Right.
So metro.net. And we hope people will come to the August 7th meeting here or any of the other open houses. There'll be a lot more information at those meetings about the project as a whole, and maybe some more updates on some of the issues.
Chris, thank you for taking your time and responding to everything that's been asked, and we will be around, of course. And then August the 7th will be a very important date for everybody to come back and see additional slides, graphs, storyboards, everything else. So I think with that, the council is engaged. We're going to be a part of all of this. The city is engaged, but a lot of this is out of our hands. But we will be attentive to listening to all of the questions that you have, the concerns that you have, and ideas that you have regarding art and the way things look and everything such as that. So with that, Chris, once again, thank you. Thank you to the entire team. And with that, we'll wrap it up and have time to look at all of the boards. Thank you.